Yes, my people, I'm just doing a losing trade recap quickly for one of my students here. I mean, not student, but one of a tradee. So obviously they picked this area here, if I'm correct. Yep. So they picked this area here, hoping that price will respect this area and continue to make lower lows and lower highs. And then here's the other picture, and you can see how this is a loss. So going back to the recap not yesterday, but the one I just done. Let me just clear my charts. You can clearly see that we're kind of stuck in the chop. We are kind of stuck in the chop where price doesn't know if it wants to go higher, doesn't know if it wants to go lower. And if you just go down a higher time frame, you'll see that overall price is bullish. But looks like we could potentially trying to pull back, or we could even just start making our way back higher. So when you're able to establish where you are within price, you make life easier for you. So first and foremost, the zone that he picked, it's not a validated zone, because this candle's a swing low. This candle's lower than the one to the left and the one to the right. However, we don't candle close above it first before taking out the low. So the fact that I am able to spot that, I would have never ever in my life entertained the zone. Because already I know that this is not a strong zone. This is a weak zone. It might be a good zone on the 1 minute, right here, and even on the 1 minute, if you see that, we don't close above it first. Hence why this is not a good zone. I don't make the rules, but this is what I've been taught, and this is what I teach you guys on. But yeah, so just by knowing that, you avoid this zone at all costs, because it's not validated. And just to go back to his SBS, so just to go back to the SBS, this is a low quality SBS, guys. Like, stop doing that. I know you see me do it sometimes, but there needs to be context behind it. 1, 2, 3 are showing the same candle. Yes, it works sometimes, but sometimes it's not going to work. And even though this zone was not a validated zone, you would have never ever picked SBS from this area in the first place. And when you delete that and you go down to the low time frame that he picked, can you look at the candles all clugged up? What makes you think price is gonna start making its way back down? Yeah, guys, we need to do better with ourselves. We need to understand where we are within price. We need to look at structure. We need to be able to identify, is this a good setup? Am I following my plan? Are all my things ticked off? Because when I go back to my checklist, what's it called again? Notes. Because when I go back to my checklist, it's there. And one of the first things that pop up is I'm going to get a zone's higher time frame zone. This is not a higher time frame zone. It's not even a validated zone. So just by knowing where you are in price, like you save yourself losing unnecessary trades. Hence why I always recommend everyone to have a checklist, and let's make sure that the things are ticked off. Yes, you might be the most experienced trader in the world, but sometimes you might forget one or two things, or you might just lose a lapse of concentration, and then now you haven't realized that potential zone was never ever a good zone in the first place. And because it wasn't a good zone in the first place, you would have never taken the trade, guys. So I just want to use him as an example that, guys, like, it happens to the best of us, but as long as you are checking your checklist, you are just going over and making sure that, is this a good zone, you are going to be alright. And that's all I have to say for today, because it wasn't even a validated zone. So I don't want to make this video too long, because we would have never ever looked for a trade within here. And even when we let price play out, yeah, cool, we come back into it, but because this was never a validated zone in the first place, then you're never ever looking for a trade. I mean, if he now said this is my zone from this wick, and he said you have SBS model 2, then that's a whole different question, where potentially this could be my 1, this could be your 2, this could be your 3, 4, 5. You know, if you told me you done something like this, then that's a different question. You know, that's a completely different question. But that's not what was drawn out. If you had something like this, where it was like this, that's also another different question. So you have to understand where you are within price, and just make sure you're doing the right things, and just making sure that you're not losing laps of focus, especially on the basics that we have learnt from the very beginning. Yeah, so that's it for me today, guys. I'm wishing you guys a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night wherever you're in the world. And always remember, guys, victory belongs to the most tenacious. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.